Hello and welcome to St Catherine's Head Talks. Last week we looked at the tools of mindfulness and breathing to help us feel calmer and manage panic or anxiety. Today we're going to look at what we can do to take control of our thoughts. Imagine that our mind is like an untrained puppy. Left to its own devices, it will run where it shouldn't, chew things it shouldn't, make a mess of things, etc. You get the picture, especially if you've ever had a new puppy. A new puppy needs training, steering away from danger, and to be given boundaries to keep it safe. It's the same with our minds. At the stage you're already at in life, you have done amazingly well to train your brain to learn new things, concentrate on listening, understanding, and following instructions. This is good news and means we can also train our thinking around anxiety. Like we would put a new puppy on a lead, we need to do the same with our brain. Without this, our brain may run over to the negative thoughts and worst scenario in a situation we might find ourselves in. We need to take control of our thinking. The Bible says that we should take every thought captive. Imagine if we really could catch a thought while it's still flying round in our mind, take it in our hand, look at it closely and examine it, and then decide whether we let it stay. After we'd looked at it closely enough, we might actually screw it up in a ball and throw it away. We need to think what we're thinking about. Like watching the new puppy and keeping an eye on what it's doing. When our thinking reaches dangerous territory, pull that lead back in. So, once we've realised what we are thinking, some test criteria for examining our thoughts could be as follows. Is this true? What is the evidence against this thought? What would the most positive person I know say about this same situation? And what could an alternative thought be? So for example, let's take the thought, I'm going to fail this history test. So first question, is this true? Well, we don't actually know for sure. It's possible, but it's also possible we may pass. It depends on how much revision we've done. Secondly, what's the evidence against this thought? Well, you might be able to reason, I have done some revision and I can remember facts about the Second World War and so on. Thirdly, what would the most positive person I know say about this same situation? They might say, you've worked really hard, you've done lots of revision, you just need to go and do what you can. Worry won't actually achieve anything positive here for you. And then, what could an alternative thought be? So you might think instead, I am worried I'm going to fail this history test. However, I have done some revision over the past few evenings since we were set the homework, so I'm just going to give it my best shot. I can't do more than that. Once we've reframed our thought, another really helpful question is, what's the worst that could happen? Often the worst that could happen is not as bad as we might fear. The fear freezes us, so we don't actually think clearly beyond the worry. This can often take the power out of the fear. Taking thoughts captive and reframing them next to the truth does take practice. Why not practice by talking to someone you trust about one of your worries? Ask them what they think, or for an alternative way of looking at the situation. Some people find keeping a diary of their anxious thoughts for a couple of weeks useful to identify the kind of patterns they fall into regularly. If you Google the term CBT thought record and search on images, you'll find some useful template sheets for tracking your thinking. Or you could use the same search term to find apps that do a similar job. Take care and remember, we can learn to manage our mental health. Goodbye.